I will start with Dr. Isaac Newton Kinity, who is a doctor, a PhD in human rights issues. He's a counselor based in Connecticut, USA. He's also a former Secretary General of the Kenya Civil Servants Union, a vocal advocate for justice. He is quite vocal in terms of accountability and human rights issue in Kenya. He continues to engage in civic and human rights issue in Africa and internationally. Dr. Kinity has even survived assassination attempts by the Kenyan government involving poisoning. His transformative journey from Nairobi, Kenya to Kampala and eventually to the USA, where he's currently based, where he has lived for almost 20 years fighting against poor governance, human rights abuses from abroad, is a true testimony to his resilience and tenacity. I would like to ask you this question, Doctor. Based on your experience as a human rights defender, what personal, professional, and moral price does one often pay for holding governments accountable in Africa? What sustains your courage, your tenacity to continue fighting for the cause of human abuse? Thank you.
Thank you very much. First, to the organizers of this forum, and also thanks to those who appointed us to come and talk in this important occasion of illuminate
yes
function. Now, all right, I'll say one thing, that our push, or what prompts us to fight and to help our people, is because of the suffering they encounter. We have leaders here, and if I have to talk about Kenya, I'll talk about Kenya being an example in Africa, because I think the problem in each country in Africa is similar to the other country. Well, the problem in Africa that makes all countries kneel down is corruption, the looting of public funds, which has gone far beyond looting the public funds in the country to looting loans that are given to the country and looting even grants that are given to country. Such that when the loans are looted, they leave the citizens paying back for money that never reached them, that were looted by the leaders. And now the question is, why do we have leaders who loot public funds? One of the biggest scenario in most African countries is that the leaders, always try very hard to recycle themselves into leadership, such that we don't have actual leaders, we have politicians in leadership in Africa. Whereas we're supposed to have leaders. The war on corruption now, today in Africa, is a very big war. Very big war. And it has been made even harder by the United Nations, the African Union, and the Western nations. And why do I say that? Because in case of corruption, these countries and these bodies never concentrate on helping the people who are suffering from corruption. But when it comes to dictators and looters of public funds being removed from power, the United Nations, the African Union, the Western nations, they all shout. And what do they say? They say it is undemocratic to remove someone in power. But they never speak about being undemocratic to loot public funds, subjecting people to suffering and acute agony. So it is a big war that needs a lot of courage and sacrifice, because we are fighting many areas. I remember when I went to Brasilia, Brazil, to attend the International Anti-Corruption Conference. One of the white ladies was moderating panel in which I was, told me, as I tried to speak, Isaac, we know what you are saying, and we are working on that. Because I had just started saying that the Western nations promote corruption in the developing nations. And in those few words, even before I proceeded, she rose up and said, "Okay, Isaac, we know what you're saying, and please, we are dealing with it." But I was saved by two. Yeah.
Yes, we have a few minutes. I'll just split if you can put everything within perspective. How do you think your experience speaks to the African situation?
The situation, especially for me, that I've encountered, is very dear when fighting corruption. And one of the dearest situation was when I was poisoned in Kenya. Being pierced by a very thin needle from my back. I started losing eyesight. I started suffering from partial paralysis, high blood pressure, and my kidneys, my prostate, and my bladder, and my head were infected by the poison. So I had to undergo foot surgery for nerve correction, and I had also to undergo brain surgery at the Yale New Haven Hospital, a prestigious hospital in Connecticut. And I think had I not come to USA, I would not be surviving now. I thank the US so much. But it's a struggle that have not stopped. And I'm still going on, even today. So today I'm fighting corruption in Kenya. But something that has just happened, and I beg to really to speak this.
Can you just give me some few 1 minute to conclude? Thank you.
Few people have gone to my history, and Kenyans have started calling me to go back to Kenya and run for presidency, including the Gen Z. I'm very impressed by the people of Kenya that they're starting to understand the value of human rights and people who are concerned about humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ed. Sorry for cutting you. Your story is quite interesting. And for more insights, we invite participants to grab a copy of Africa, of our Illuminate Africa journal. You get all you need to know. And I think this discussion will continue as we move on. His story is quite inspiring, and it's a story I think that cuts across Africa. Is a story that happens in most African countries. Human rights issues, human rights abuse is something that we live every day. We are going to move over to